Yes, so I'll introduce myself, Senior Learning Technologist at Liverpool John Moores University, and I'm currently the chair of ALT-ELESIG, the kind of the group that you're all members here. So we thought this was an excellent chance to talk to you about what ALT-ELESIG can do, where direction might be heading, and these sorts of things. Is Jess here? I don't know whether Jess made it or not.
I'm here.
Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Jess Humphries. I'm an assistant professor at Warwick, University of Warwick, and I work in academic development, and I'm vice chair of ALT-ELESIG. So here today to talk a bit about some of the work that we've been doing in the last year or so.
Emma?
I forgot to unmute. I'm Emma Duke-Williams. I'm an educational technologist in Dundee, so I've met quite a lot of you locally, and I'm now the secretary of the ALT-ELESIG UK-wide.
Yeah, so we're just doing the usual kind of roundup as we're all kind of new to our roles, so we want to make sure that ALT-ELESIG is working for you in the right ways that you want it to. So in exploring that, we were thinking about how this benefits you, and you know, being able to keep up to date, of meeting, of sharing not only the work such as Tim's just been demonstrating, but as Tim's also been talking about, the methodologies for evaluating that and the theories behind it. This is one part of a network and a collaboration that we're trying to support, and the opportunities of gaining feedback about some of your projects, and to disseminate that in an informal and friendly setting. But also there's this opportunity of perhaps what ALT-ELESIG can build towards is helping some of you get more support for, you know, advanced HE scholarship and certification through that way, but also trying to build a structure so that you've got this particular interest and you want to explore it, and hopefully explore it with other people as well. If it's one thing that I think the three of us really strongly believe in, is that this community is about collaboration and trying to support that as much as possible. So that we've been trying to build a process that we might, you know, we're going to explore it over this presentation, in which we can try and get more of you to work collaboratively together to evaluate things, because it's a long journey to write up a research paper or run an evaluation, and raises an awful lot of questions, as Tim's just demonstrated there. To try and tackle that all by yourself without much support is very difficult, particularly in a situation where perhaps your role that you're given doesn't provide you with a hell of a lot of space and time to do research. So yes, we do webinars, and you're at one of them at the moment, and we have as part of our the chair, part of my role is to run them across the country as well. So we've had various different ones over the time, and I have to say ALT-ELESIG Scotland has got something special. I don't know what it is that you've got going up there, but you're very much the most active group that we have at the moment. We run our own, and we run ours through ALT, you know, the Association for Learning Technologists. That's how we're kind of advertising them and getting them going there. But I mean, in a few minutes time, perhaps you can share why this is such a special group, and what we can possibly be learning from you. As part of my work as chair, what I'm interested in doing is trying to connect with various different groups out there to see if there isn't a synergy as well. So we're looking at talking to CEDA, looking at collaborating more closely with JISC, just so that we get the most opportunity and they know more about us as well and what we can offer. So that's part of the work that we're doing at the moment. So we've given a little bit of a hint to our backgrounds, but just to fill you in a bit more. So my role isn't specifically around research. I'm in a small department that look after the types of technology that, you know, the VLEs and these sorts of things. And I'm connected with the support department for academic development. And as part of that, I have a module that I run within the PGHE for John Moores, and I deliver some things there, but it's not part of my role to do research, and that means that I have to carve it out of the time that I'm given, if you see what I mean. And I think that's perhaps quite common across the sector in terms of our types of roles. So I'm keen, as I said before, to try and set up things where I'm working with other universities in order to develop my understanding of this world that we're working in, and also to build up my research skills as well. Because if you Google me, I haven't got a big profile in terms of research. I've only written a couple of papers really, so I'm still at the beginning stages of what I'm doing, but I realize how much I can learn from trying to set up collaborations. Jess, you want to talk a little bit about your experiences?
Yeah, sure. So at Warwick, as I said, I'm in academic development. Mine's a teaching focused role. And so obviously my work is around developing support for colleagues around design for learning, blended learning. And I also lead a postgraduate award in technology enhanced learning, which is for staff to complete. And it's a project-based course underpinned by design thinking and affiliated with the HEA, accredited with the HEA, so leading to fellowship. But yes, finding time to do research is a real challenge. It's something that I need to do to make sure that I stay current. And I'm involved in a couple of research projects, one of which is through ELESIG, and I'll talk a bit about that later. And one around the use of friendship interviews, which is getting student experience of digital pedagogy and getting them to talk to each other and finding out what they're up to. So it's carving time out, and it's making sure that we try and support each other. And that's where I found really helpful being part of ALT-ELESIG, working with colleagues who have similar sort of experiences and finding areas of interest and research in those areas. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Sort of update on me, although I'm also conscious of the time and the number of slides we've got. So I think as some of you know, I started out lecturing as a lecturer who was somebody without a PhD, but sort of got involved with research into really the learning and teaching aspects of what I was doing, teaching in the School of Computing. And when I made the move into educational technology at Dundee, and also the move from Portsmouth to Dundee, the work has now obviously changed much more to the support of other people. And really the opportunity to do research kind of dropped off for a while. We're now just really trying to get into things. There's so much been happening recently with the change to the online learning, with a number of new initiatives. And also, as well, I've seen at least one other person from Dundee here will know, our team has finally now got big enough that we do have time to actually start really looking at evaluating what we've been doing across the university, rather than just constantly having to do, which I think is probably very much like everybody else. You're so busy doing, you don't have time to do that step back and the reflect and the research into, are we going in the right direction? But I think I don't need to say that to everyone, because I think probably most people here are all in a very, very similar position. So I'll hand back to you, Jim.
Jess, do you want to take us through the next couple of slides?
Yeah, sure. So we recognise that there's Let's go to the next slide. Thanks, Jim. We recognise that there may be potential to support one another in this area of research and evaluation. And last year, our previous chair, Denise Sweeney from Nottingham, came to ALT-ELESIG with the idea of running a scholar scheme, which we were able to get colleagues to connect with one another and work together in pairs over the duration of initially 6 months. It's sharing thoughts and experiences around publishing, and we had a really good interest when we put the call out to people to get involved. SOTL is a really interesting area of work, and how people are defining that and what we're doing in that space. And so we had about 50 people come along and volunteer, either to be a scholar or a mentor, and we paired them and we took into account where people were at. Some people were looking to get support with senior fellowship applications or senior CMOR applications. Other colleagues were interested in getting support around starting out with publishing and where to go, what to look at, and others were already writing and were wanting help with drafting chapters, you know, what next for them in their books and what they're up to. So it was really varied. We met several times. We had a kick-off meeting, and it was a really useful experience to come together and hear all of our different stories in this area and how we evaluate and what we're all up to, because there's always so much to learn from the community. And now we're in a process of evaluating the scheme. So the scheme did end up going on till the end of the year. Obviously, because of the pandemic, we lost some people along the way, but it's been a really valuable experience for us, and it's something we're keen to evolve. As I say, so if we go to the next slide. Thanks, Jim. We are in the process of evaluating the scholar scheme. So we're exploring how becoming a TEL scholar, code switching and building identity through the scholar scheme, and it's also taking into account how we sustain that scheme, what lessons can we learn, what are the key challenges to SOTL. And one of the things that we found in some of our initial responses has been how people define SOTL, where they have space. And as we've already mentioned, we've all had our own challenges with identifying space for research. We've also found a gap in the literature too around how our identity and how it's changing, and what we need to do more evaluation and more research. So if we go to the next slide, Jim, please. So to do this, we've been undertaking a series of approaches pre the scheme starting. So an initial survey to find out where people are at, how they get support within their institutions. Some have lots of support, there are programs in place. Others have corridor conversations. Others have no support and they're looking elsewhere outside. So it's a really varied picture. We've also, when it was actually running, we had confidence logs where we asked a series of questions. It wasn't for anyone to share with us, it was for our members of the scholar scheme to reflect and look at what they were up to. And now we're in the phase of the post scheme. We've done an initial survey. Apologies, my dog's just started to bark. The kids have come home, it's all happening. And we're also running a series of interviews. So we are going to get some more data around that. And what's been quite interesting in the initial feedback that we've had is the scheme has created some accidental sort of interactions and accidental findings of that work. Next slide, Jim, please. So as I've said, the key motivations is an area we found in our initial findings. Sorry, dog's barking. And the idea that the scholar schemes really help with publishing skills. It's been an opportunity for inspiration. It's been a professional development. The community is so important, and even things like today where we're coming together and sharing what's going on. I'm so sorry about the dog. Next slide, please. So we are looking at what else and how people are finding support following the scheme, what's going on now, and where we go from this. And we want to do it again because it was something that was valued, and some of our participants who were scholars want to now be mentors. So it's an opportunity really to develop professional development in that sense too. So why get involved? As I said, it's a great opportunity to connect. It helps us to identify career goals, and there's been some accidental things come out of it. I know I work with a colleague, and both of us have gained so much from that interaction, being able to share our experiences in different places, being able to think about things in different ways. It helps to develop existing knowledge and skills, and also opportunities to disseminate findings. So there's lots going on. If you are interested in becoming involved, we're hoping to run it in the autumn, and we also hope to publish some of our findings from the original pilot shortly too. So that's enough from me. I'll pass on to Emma now.
Thanks, Jess. So we've already had one way of getting a hold of us with the link to the Scholar Scheme, and I saw that earlier on, and I'll just reshare it again. Avril had shared the link to the ELESIG site generally, so I'll just post that in here now. So yeah, we're trying to move everything over to JISC mail. So if you join through the ELESIG website, join us on the JISC mail link. Jim earlier on mentioned the webinars, so if anybody either has an idea for a speaker or even better volunteering to be a speaker, that would be super at one of the webinars. And the next one coming up on Tuesday is from, I've forgotten her name, but she's in Australia. So it's at 11 o'clock in the morning, so that it's neither too late for her nor too early for us. Looking at the flip to hybrid. The new ELESIG Scholar Scheme will be coming out. Oh, thanks, Jess. Jess has shared the link to the next iteration of the Scholar Scheme. We do have a Twitter channel, which is ALT-ELESIG, sorry, @ELESIG. And as others have mentioned, well, there are the local groups. However, we don't actually really need that here because you are all in the local group. Other than those visitors from, if we do have any participants from outside of Scotland who may want to join their local group across the UK, and if you just drop one of the three of us a line, we can point you in the right direction if you're not actually based in Scotland. So those are the main ways for getting hold of us. And really now, I guess it's a bit of time. I've seen a couple of comments in the chat about the sort of community up in Scotland, but really sort of over to you. So really thinking about either the any evaluation you're currently doing, thinking of doing, or just the whole community aspect. So a bit of an open forum, really. So hands up or just start talking, or if you're a bit shy, write it in the chat.